Started on the fuselage. First thing I always do is get out the Z-epoxy and the back of the firewall, all inside the nose in the back there. This bulkhead, I'll probably do it on this side as well, because oil does manage to get in here. So along the wing saddle and the bottom part out here, most of the inside's already done. The bottom, the whole firewall, and the bottom of this bulkhead. Whole got fiberglass or epoxy glass resin on it. So I got a side mount pitch for that engine. So I'm hogging out the engine area now, and what you hear is my funky dust collecting system that I got at Lee Valley Tools. That thing works like a damn. So I got the hose hooked up to my belt sander and whatever else. I just take it out and hook it up to wherever I need it. But while I'm grinding this out, I just rest the cowling, fiberglass cowling, on this belt sander, and it sucks up all the dust, because you don't want to be breathing that fiberglass. It works really good. Almost there. Just clearing. There we go. Trying to find a 3.5-inch spinner has turned into a nightmare. Got to order one from China. Dave Brown has moved. Somebody took over, and I think they're using sterling silver to make them. They want like around $70 US for a aluminum spinner. And that's like around $100 Canadian, and this is an ARF. If I was doing a Aviation Spitfire, yeah, I might consider it, but so actually looks pretty good like that. And as you can see, the spinner has experience. That's off a Mustang I had, and as you can tell, I had. So yeah, so I got it taped in place. All I gotta do now is drill it, and then I can start marking out where I gotta cut the thing out for the exhaust pitch muffler. Alrighty, rough idea where my exhaust is going to come out. So I just tack glued 2 pieces of 1/8 ply to give me the gap. They're saying 4 to 5 mil. I think that'd be too much. This is bad enough, but Even that seems like it's a little bit much, but oh well. So anyway, I got a 8-inch gap there with those spacers between the back plate of this spinner off an ill-fated Mustang. Just making sure everything's lined up here. And if and when I get a 3.5 inch, we should be golden. Should be. Time will tell. I already got obviously no wood behind that one. This is no big deal. I'll just put a piece of plywood in there and then re-drill it. These little right there, Tamiya. These little drills are great for doing stuff like this. Nice thing about nice shiny gel coat, nothing sticks to it very good. So, go inside, put plywood in the spots. That need reinforcing for the screws, and that's it. I usually put a little bit of nylon cloth over the holes in the back of the fiberglass too, just to keep it from splitting, and because this is just one layer of fiberglass with gel coat on it. So the screws will, if you just put them on with a little beefing up inside, they will crack. It gets ugly. Let's see what I made out this time. I'm hoping the muffler clears the cowl. Yeah, I got her that time. Put some screws in there and call her done. Mounted. Really glad I did it that way, because I don't have an inverted Pitts muffler, so I would have had this big honking muffler sticking out of the side. So the engine fit in there pretty nice. Some people criticize how you're not centered with these holes. A lot of this is this way so you can get the damn cowl on. So it's like people don't seem to get that, the critics. So we got the side mounted pits in. It's going to stick down just right. Again, this hole, you want that big anyway. Any air that does get in the cowl will come out the bottom. And it again allows for the thing to get on. It's not right out, so I still had a nice strip of fiberglass there. So I use a number 2 flathead screws. I didn't have any of those fancy washers for the flathead, or number 2s. Only got them for the 4s. I may put another screw on the top here, I don't know yet. And the bottom, I'll probably definitely put one on the bottom. I might just paint that. I do have the sky blue dope. I may just spray that bottom just to make it look better. The gray would be a bit to match, but that would be nice to bring that camo out. On this side it's not an issue, but I think I am going to do the blue. How to get carried away with Nerf. It's not quite centered. It's hard to say. Oh yeah, you just look straight on, it's not bad. But these are never perfectly round anyway. Yeah, so just got enough room here, I think, to get my Allen screw for a extension. I wouldn't want to be trying to reach out with the engine running. Definitely put an extension on that. There's a groaner. I haven't figured out how I'm going to fix that yet. Dumbass. Oh well. Yep. So, got it sloped. I've seen sometimes it cocked up or down. That engine mount's interesting where you can actually tweak it a bit. You move it about 1/8 of an inch up or down. Yeah, I think I'd love to run the camo. But anyway, so I get too carried away with that. Cowling is on and done. Now to get everything done, cut out, sized. I have to get the debonder out and tidy this up a bit. You see where I get the nylon reinforcement around the screw holes. All these edges, you'll see that's like a saw's tooth now. I get the thin CA and I carefully go around all the edges of everything I've cut out. And then later I'll just go at them with some 240 grit sandpaper just to take those sharp edges off. And that seals up the edges of the fiberglass. And you can, little spot there from the spacer. Yeah, the cowling's done. Fits good. Trying to decide what's next. Throttle or put the fuel tank in. Alright, got the engine sorted out. Got the push rod made up for the throttle. And got all, I'm just using the good old Dubro stuff. Especially on that metal horn on this MDS. It's got my tube in there. So got everything sorted out from my servo tray. Decided to go with a 14-ounce Sullivan tank. Got a good one out of my crash bin. And with the servo tray, what I always do is put these extra layer of plywood glued on the edge for extra grip for the servo mounting screws. It always seem to strip if you only go with that thin, especially this light ply, this soft shit. So, yep, that goes in next. Goes in pretty easy actually. Unless it's on video, then it gets harder. There we go. Then I was going to triangle stock underneath, but I think on the sides I'll just glue it on the top where it's easy. I cut a relief in it there so that the fuel tank will come in and out easier. I'll install the tank initially without that, but with this out of place, but just made sure the tank could come in and out. It's easier to make up the mounting system without this tray in the place. So I'm gonna run a piece across here to get the tank. What's nice is I can get the tank perfectly in line with the center of that carburetor, which just happens to follow the top of this doubler, so I know exactly where to put the center of the tank. Yeah, it's coming along. Picked these up pretty cheap on sale at Walmart. Canadian Tire. Actually, I got these at Canadian Tire. Got a magnet on them. Just stick them to the old workbench and you always know where it's at. What I really like about them, turn them on. You can set them right inside your airplane and do stuff and see what's going on. Because even if you have a light overhead, as soon as you go put your hand in there, you can't see jack. So, yeah. Stick that in there. You can rummage around to your heart's content. Gives you a great view down the fuselage, so you can see stuff. Yeah, these things are great. And when you're done, it uses 3 AAA batteries, and it's LED. Comes with batteries, and it took like 2 or 3 years for that thing to wear out. That's the old cheapo Chinese ones, which means changing everything. Although the setup they had here wasn't exactly magnificent. So what I'm doing, or did, you can probably see there, I made a mount to go across side to side, so the tank has something to rest on. The way they got it was just supposed to just get stuck in there and have at her. So I centered the tank. The center line turned out to be along the top of this doubler, which I think I already mentioned. So I made this cradle in here. And it's something to point with. And I notched it out for the vent part of the Sullivan tank. This was one of their soft tanks. I kind of like those. So I put triangle stock in here with plywood tabs on them so I could put this foam down. I made another mount for the rear. Same thing, put foam on it. And in here I made a floor for the bottom so that the tank won't be trying to move around. If it does, the fuel lines would probably hold it, but you don't want those actually suspending your tank. So it'll be sandwiched in here. I'll put a piece of foam in front of the tank too so it doesn't hit the firewall. I'm just going to make another bracket to go across the top with a kind of a T-plate on the bottom with foam. This, I think this is SIG or sea foam. I like that stuff, and it glues good too. Like it, medium CA, and stick it right in there. So more screwing around and changes and upgrades. It just kind of turns a 2-day job into a week-long job, but oh well. That'll be the way I want it. Now with the tank in place, you can see how I got that sandwiched a bit in the front. Mounting shelf in the front, mounting shelf in the rear. It's the, in my mind, it's the best way to do it. All foam line. So what I ended up doing on the back, I was going to make this fancy screw-on bracket, and I said, why not just use rubber bands? So I got a long number 2 screw in here. It's a servo screw with a fixed washer. Same on both sides. That fixes the clearance problem. It's rubber and it holds it tight and keeps it from touching the sides. So yeah, quick and easy. Once the tray's in there, I'm gonna have to make a little tool for putting the rubber band in place, but that's not a big deal. Just hook it on this one and bring it around to this one. 'Cause actually, that won't be bad. Actually put that in there with a screwdriver. But if they slip off, I'll just take the screw out. Because you can go from underneath. Here. Even with the servos in place with a Allen's driver, and take that screw out and just put a washer on it. I used old small fuel line over the threads, keep it from chewing into those rubber bands. I put just doubled up some 1/8 aircraft ply, so it's 1/4 of an inch thick, laminated, glued into the corner. It acts as a brace and a mount for that screw, and you don't need a whole lot of tension on that. So did that on both sides. So yeah, see how that works. Yeah, I put washers on them for number 8 washers, Dubros, just to keep those rubber bands from slipping off. Okay, got hoses hanging everywhere. So originally they had this hole for the tank, which would have worked because the tank would have been lower if the engine was inverted to line up to your fuel tank. But I had to raise the tank, so I ended up drilling another hole. I was going to do 3 holes and try it. I said, you know what, it's too much of a pain in the butt. So I just drilled it. It's smaller than the original one, but it's enough, tons of room for these fuel lines. So that's my filler line, feed line, which is going to have to come over here. And no fuel line filter because I use centered bronze fuel filters. These Dubros. That's a clunk and a filter all in one. They work pretty good. And that way you don't have to have an extra potential leak. As you can see, I haven't put the nuts back on, but yeah, so the tank is in. I've put foam pad, 2 thick RC pads and foam pads in front of the tank, taped it on. Used this thick, heavy Scotch kind of tape. Not that it matters, it's pretty heavy stuff. And find English, made in Canada. Wow. Athletic tape, our brand athletic tape. So some kind of, I don't know. So you tape your opposition to a chair or what. So anyway, got put the tank in. It's rigid enough where it's not going to touch the sides. Rubber bands are good. They don't exactly transfer vibration. So I just get the engine bolt back in for the last time and put the muffler on. I'm going to use, I don't have a gasket, I'm just going to use high temp orange silicone for that. I'm going to start doing the final assembly. All that's left is tail feathers and put the servo tray in there. As I mentioned before, I got my extra pieces in there for extra traction for the threads. That should be it. This is going to be a pain in the ass. But I'll just make a hookup for putting those rubber bands on.